By the time they're adults, they're set in their ways, and they thought it was kind of nuts.
Got you. Well, that's how a lot of geniuses are, right? How many people thought Steve Jobs was nuts, or Bill Gates, or
And the other problem I ran into, I didn't realize. See, I'm an entrepreneur,
yes, sir.
and that never crossed your mind when in the '60s. No one ever talked about that. They talked about going to college. Everything was going to college, you learn this, learn that, and get a degree. And basically it was taught conformity. And I was
Mm,
cut out to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that because I was thinking the traditional, you got to go to college, get a degree, and get a job
mm-hmm.
and make a living. And that didn't. That somewhere in the back of my mind, it didn't appeal to me. Now, as more people want to just get their own business, but then sometimes they're not focused on what when the opportunity comes.
Got you. Well, can you elaborate a little bit about that? When you say like people want to be entrepreneurs, but they're not focused enough, can you elaborate a little bit
Well,
on
yeah,
that?
because that's one thing I learned. Because in when I was younger, I read every book I can. My mom started giving me books when I was in high school. It's about how to get ahead, how to think and grow rich, Napoleon Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the book and I said, and the book is, they said, well, write down what you want and think about it every night, and just keep it on your mind, and pull that sheet out every day and write, and eventually it'll happen. Then so I would read those things but I didn't know what I really wanted, so I just kind of just whatever. And then she also started buying me books of real estate, how I turned $1 million and $1,000 to $1 million, books like that.
Wow.
And then I read those books, but then the what she didn't do was push me into making a deal.
Uh huh.
See, because I didn't know how to do that, and growing up in the '70s the '70s is the first time the inflation ever came hit America big, where people started
Wow.
investing in real estate.
Okay.
Because prior to the '70s, '50s, well, '40s was the war. '50s, people just bought a house to live in. '60s, no one was investing in additional houses
Mm-hmm.
for investment. No one's worried about stock market. And when '70s, when inflation came, everyone started buying houses. And like I was working at Burger King in the city of Torrance, and the bread driver, he bought.
Wow. Bread driver.
He had a house in Palos Verdes, which at the time, no, I don't know if you know Palos Verdes,
I've
but
heard the name, but I don't know.
it's like a little peninsula in LA. It's
Okay.
like a forest area, and people didn't want to live there because it was you get the ocean breezes, and
Okay.
it was built on the ground wasn't really that stable. There's a lot of shale from the prior centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got foggy all the time. That became prime beach property, or not,
Yeah. Yeah.
or prime coastal property. And so he had a house there, and this in the '70s. He'd tell me every month his house was going up 10,000. He comes, oh, another ten
Every
thousand.
month.
This is the '70s, yeah. When you could buy a
Wow.
brand new car for 7,000,
Wow.
and because he had a house in Palos Verdes.
Mm-hmm.
My dad used to do gardening for extra money. I used to go help him, and he had accounts in Palos Verdes, and all I remember is cold and it gets foggy, so it gets yeah, and so if you're driving it's like a little bit in the mountain area in the city basically,
Wow.
and but I learned, and I missed all that because I kept reading about, and then one day he came and said, oh. There's a 4-unit apartment for sale in Torrance, city of Torrance, was right there next to Palos Verdes. So all you need is 10,000 down, and those is like 50,000, and that today would be about $1 million in
Whoa.
Torrance, and
Easily.
and it's all you need is 10,000 down, and I did nothing. He said go buy it, and it took me time to learn to take action,
Got you.
and then once I did that. Because I read all these books about investing and I did nothing. So actually, I bought first house I bought was actually in Torrance because I was working at another Burger King, and the real estate guy came in, customer, and I said, "Yeah, I want to buy a house." So he went and came back with an offer.
Okay,
He said,
really?
he said, "Buy this house," and he kind of forced me into it, which is what I needed.
Yeah, that push.
Yeah. And so after that, and then I started learning how to buy and just make the deal. But
Wow.
yeah, but he kind of forced me to do it because he wanted his commission. And it wasn't a
Hmm.
great deal, but then I screwed everything up. I rented to one of the workers, and they messed up. Didn't pay any rent. But so at the end of the year, I got frustrated. But then I sold it. But then because of inflation, it was still going up a little bit. I got all my money back. And so I started taking a different approach, and I learned to be more proactive,
Proactive.
and then especially by the time I got to 30, I said, okay, I'm gonna just jump when something comes up. I'm taking educated analysis, a
Yes.
quick analysis, and then if it looked good, and then and if I failed, I say, well, look, when I'm 70, 80, 90 years old, I want to look back and say, well, I could own this, I could own that.
Yeah, no regrets.
Yeah.
No regrets. You know what I've learned a lot about our conversation today, and thank you for being on the podcast. Is you talk about action a lot is a lot in your vocabulary. Is that taking action
Yeah,
means a lot.
that's what I learned to do. That's why when the McDonald's property came up for sale, I was the next day I bought it. And when the same thing in town of Amboy came up for sale, the next day I bought it. And that was a great deal. And long term, that could be a tremendous deal because basically own our own little town.
Which is super cool. And we're definitely going to get it right into that. But I have a little bit more about Juan Pollo. And so, when did you know, or when did you say to yourself, Juan Pollo is now successful?
Well, actually is after the first year. Towards the end of the first year, we were just kind of floating along with sales. We didn't do any sales over $1,000 a day. And then so I called Armando up towards the end of the year because he guy says, "Well, we're not doing that good. We're flat. We're just staying where we're staying." Because I had like, well, we'll see what happens attitude for a while in the first year.
Yes.
Even though I told myself I'll do this 5 years, so mentally I wasn't burning out. And then so I said, "Well, we're not doing sales. What's the problem?" He says, "Your problem is your price is too cheap." I said, "What are you talking about? And we're not selling nothing now." He said, "No, your price is too cheap."
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, well I thought I had nothing to lose." So from our grand opening till the end of the year, we never did over 1,000 any of those days.
Okay.
And then so I raised it, and on a Thursday night, then I talked to him and raised the prices. I don't know what I raised it to. And then the Friday we opened, we did $1,300.
Wow.
I think well, maybe he's right, but whether he's right or wrong, I took a different approach, and I said, okay, we're going to start driving up the sales. So
Okay.
it's a mental approach. So either coincidence or well, it had to be coincidence. We didn't tell them we raised prices,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then so I'm thinking it has to be destiny
There it is again.
because I try to say we can't raise prices. We're not making no money.
Mm-hmm.
How are we gonna?
How are you gonna raise when you're not making
Yeah, and then
anything?
we did 1,300. Then after that, I started tracking every day of the week, which is higher, highest ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, because I listed, I wrote everything down on a spreadsheet. And there's no computer then, so I just wrote it by hand.
Yeah.
And so I started circling all the highest Tuesday of the year, and it kept getting higher and higher. So I kept getting more and more of these circles. And
Mm.
then when we started, by the end of the second year, we just taking off. It just started taking off.
Wow. That's impressive. And you mentioned we talked a little bit about Juan Pollo during the pandemic, right?
Right.
So, what has anything changed for the customers? And obviously, the food's been the same, but has the customer involvement, the way you guys have delivered your food to the customers, what has changed since the pandemic?
Well, the things that change is really whatever government controls there is. Because as far as the food in San Marino, no one seems to be concerned about the pandemic these days.
What pandemic?
I mean, it's not on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
Some of the customers still wear masks, but that's optional. But most of the people is going along living life as normal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much of that pattern. I like to try to act normal, think normal.
Mm-hmm.
Because the funny thing is, I don't know what's going on, but I've been healthier since the COVID started.
I like it.
Because usually every year I get either a sore throat for a day or two, or a mild cough. I haven't had a bad day since COVID. I don't know
Fist bump.
I don't know whether it's luck or I had a mild case and developed immunity. But I can't identify any day I felt bad or sick in the last 3-4 years.
Gotcha. And what about the servicing from Juan Pollo to the customers?
Well, we've eliminated most of the contacting. We used to have lemons out and serranos for
Mm-hmm.
they can help themselves. And so now we have bagged them up, and they request them, we just give them a
Give it
bag.
to them. Gotcha.
And then same thing with the forks, and then we keep them behind the counter, so we give them out. Well, we're supposed to ask, and they're supposed to ask for them with the state law.
Okay, it's a law.
So we're not supposed to automatically give it to them, but yeah, they passed the law. They
Do
have to
that.
request it.
Gotcha. And you were talking about like you guys do like catering, right? Maybe not many people know you guys do catering.
Right, we do the catering. We for as long as well, we still do it, but we made our name for buffet style, where we have the pans. We have a party pack 1, party pack 2, party pack 3. Party pack 1 feeds about 25 people. Party
Wow.
pack 3 feeds about 50 to 60 people.
Okay.
And so we have anywhere from 6 chicken meal, the party pack 1, to 18 chickens for the. And so we and then we give half trays of the side orders.
Mm-hmm.
And so once COVID came, though, that kind of dried up because the buffets open, and so we went to individual meals. So we're
Okay.
packaged individually, so no one really handles their food too much. And if you we do a lot of warehousing where they want to feed their employees. So we did this. They're all boxed up individuals, so less chance of any contamination.
Which makes sense.
And we become pretty experienced with that.
Mhm.
Prior to COVID, we wouldn't do the individual meals because of labor intensive.
Definitely.
But now we've streamlined our system so we get mass produced a little quicker.
Gotcha. Taking stuff from the McDonald's.
The McDonald's
McDonald's.
early years.
Yes. It's crazy how things just keep on coming
Yeah.
cyclical. That's super impressive. And so I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, okay. I guess this is a really good question. Since you've definitely been in the industry you've been in the food industry for over half a century, right?
Since 1970, yes.
Yeah,
How long has that been?
52 years.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Plus, I spent 10 years before that eating hamburgers.
Yeah.
I was a hamburger expert.
Yeah.
And I've personally eaten more McDonald's hamburgers than anybody I know.
Are you serious?
Yes. Still, if I want a hamburger, because especially when I was in the 20s and 30s in a hurry, because you can eat like a cheeseburger and French fry, it goes down easy and you don't get upset stomach, and it gives you calories, so you just move on.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have to, if it's you could get the hamburger French fries and eat while you're driving. So, because a lot of people are on the move in the car.
Definitely.
And a lot of foods you can't do that. It makes a mess, or it's too spicy, and yeah, I guarantee you can eat a cheeseburger and a French fry every day, and your body doesn't reject it because it's not overly seasoned. It's sort of on the bland side, which is good because you get digest it real easy.
Have you heard of the documentary called Super Size Me?
Yes, I'm not sure what the contents.
The context is this guy, he eats like McDonald's, I think for a month, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to see what it does to his body, But I'll let you and your family watch that to see what you think about it. But
Well,
you-
that can't be good if that's all you eat.
yeah, that's it. That was it. That was all he ate for like I think a month, I believe. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting movie. But
For this time, why I eat McDonald's a lot. But as I get older, now my favorite is a little bit of chicken and a little bit of rice and greens.
and good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked about you being in the industry for over half a century is because what advice would you give to someone who wanted to open up their own food spot?
The advice I would give is don't try to be too ethnic. Don't change your recipes because a lot of times people open a restaurant and the customer comes and says, "Well, you need more salt." So they start putting more salt on things, and then the next guy will think it's too much, or they won't say anything, they won't come back, or because a lot of people want to give you good advice, but what I try to do is make something first and make something that I would want to eat myself, and then and even if our current recipes they're the same as when we started basically. And if I have relatives come over or someone I want to impress, I give them the same food. So a lot of restaurants, they try to get something, if the friends come over, they give you something different,
Oh,
more
really?
of an upgrade.
Oh, whoa.
And so whatever we sell to you, I would give to my best friend or relatives or anyone I want to impress.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's what a lot of people get away from. And then they have to just first pass the taste test where you would personally eat it. Then you have to make sure it's not too ethnically oriented. So you have to keep if it's too oriented in one way, you're limiting your potential customers.
Gotcha. That wide audience.
Yes. And so, and in America, with all this racial things going on, they have to make everything sort of neutral and stay neutral as part of your opinions.
Gotcha.
And so I try to just mind my own business, and because I want everybody to come in and be happy and eat, and they can have the political thing afterwards.
That part, yeah. You eat my food, and then you go have your political talk after.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they also keep it a broad-based appeal, so everyone will like it.
Smart. It makes a lot of sense.
And it's good to have a theme, but not like I told you, our theme is we're a Hispanic company, even though we're not really a true Mexican company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't speak any Spanish.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Got you. Like, okay. I like that. Have a theme is very important to have.
Right, because otherwise, you get into restaurants like right now, poke is real popular.
Oh, the poke bowl?
Yeah, but then I think it has I don't know what shelf life it has as far as being popular.
So you think it might be done like in the next 10 to 20 years?
Yeah, I think so because it's really the biggest customer base of the poke bowl is people like the trendy type of food. So if something new comes along, they might switch over. See, so I like for us, we're doing rotisserie chicken. We use the exact same recipe as 34 years ago, 37 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Exact same marination process and marination. It's the same and same machines. And we haven't changed.
Yeah, everything's been the same since.
Yeah.
I love it. I like it, and it makes sense. Gotcha. And do you think the poke thing is trendy because it's just like so? It doesn't have a broad appeal because it's such a different flavor.
Well, something different, but then the base that loves that type of restaurant, they will find when something else new comes along similar, then they might flee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Gotcha. Because I know right now what's really popular is like Korean barbecue. That's a really popular thing. Do you think that'll stay? Or
I don't know. Because it was they tried to be popular for many years. 'Cause I've known a lot of Korean owners because they most of the Korean immigrants, they like to get in the restaurant business.
Okay.
And then there's been a lot of Korean restaurants that have attempted, and now it's finally struck. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just find it interesting. And I like your concept about theme and how important theme is and how it can be taken away if it's not structurally done right. Like Pokey, I never thought about things like that, or even like how popular boba is. Do you think
Oh,
boba
yeah.
will last long?
I don't know because I personally don't like it. My kids love it,
Okay,
but then they're the more trendy type.
gotcha, gotcha.
See, so I'm not sure.
What'll happen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I can't see it because there'll be another new drink come along,
true.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, I can't predict. All I know is we've been the same all these years, and and the other thing about what we're doing, we have the potential to go all over the world with our items.
Mm-hmm.
Because the chicken I already know will fit in with most.
Most cultures.
And the reason I find out because so many people come to America and they say they love our chicken, So I'm doing market research by just staying in the restaurant
I like it. I
and
like it.
I get people from all over. One guy came from Brazil. He says, and we were doing a commercial, I guess. We were filming here at the our restaurant. And my son was there, and the guy was eating, and he saw us come and said, "Excuse me, I want to just taste something." He says, "I'm from Brazil." He said, "Oh, this is the best beans I ever ate in my life."
Ah,
I couldn't believe it because we're not doing anything special.
with the beans, yeah.
He says, "I love beans, and I just want to tell you, it's the best beans ever in my life."
Compliment.
Well, whether it's true or not, in his mind, it was true.
Hey, that's all that matters.
You know,
It's a beautiful compliment.
so and my son was impressed.
That is a beautiful
Uh,
compliment.
but but you never, that's why we try to keep everything as appealing to broad base.
It makes sense because you want more people to come in and come in your doors and return.
You're right.
Uh,
I want everybody to go away
Yeah,
happy.
Um, so I wanted to talk about you're also an owner of a city, correct?
Right. Yeah, it's a town.
A town.
It's a living ghost town. There's only maybe three people live there full time.
Wow. Okay.
But it's a famous town because
What's the name of it again?
Amboy.
Amboy. Wow. Almost sounds like it's not
Now,
real.
Amboy came up for sale. I never heard of Amboy,
No, I don't think a lot of us have.
and but it will become more and more popular because it's on Route 66, and the more people that travel the route. Well, one of the good things about Route 66, which is benefiting Amboy, is there's no copyrights.
What does that mean?
That means anybody can make a souvenir T-shirt that says Route 66 or Shield. And Route 66 is the most famous highway in America,
Yeah.
and it's probably one of the most famous in the world, where it has worldwide recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no copyright, so anyone can make anything they want, Route 66, and sell. And every time they make shirts or something, it's just more publicity for the route.
Very true.
And then Amboy is known with the true Route 6 people as the inspiration for Radiator Springs in the movie Cars. And I didn't own the town when the Cars came out, but had I owned the town before Cars came out, Pixar would have used more detail than Amboy because Pixar didn't want to go to Amboy when they did the research. Yeah, the first time because the owners of the town they wanted too much money for everything,
Wow.
and they're kind of greedy. So because Pixar they went through the whole route to get inspiration. So a lot of the characters in the movie were from people or things they met along the route, and so a lot of the inspiration was from actual people that they met along the route. And I would have been open to have Amboy do it, whoever shoot anyone available for any kind of cross marketing. In Amboy, we have a 50-foot street signs is iconic sign of the route, the neon sign, Roy's Cafe sign. And that's the iconic sign of the route. It's a symbol of the route, and we have it restored. And so we got all this marketing.
So only if Pixar was around during the time when you owned it, it would probably help so much with the collaboration for marketing for the city, having better representation for the town.
Well, maybe yes, but in the long run, Amboy will be Amboy. My son Kyle, he's taken over the managing of the town, and what he's learned to do, he's learned to be our agent for his photo shoots. We get a lot of requests all the time. We're getting on the loop for photo shoots.
What type of photo shoots?
Well, a lot of TV commercials
Okay.
and music videos.
Oh,
And like there's a shot they did. Amazon was getting into movies. They did a movie shot there.
okay.
And during the March Madness, Nissan did film the commercials there.
Gotcha.
And
How much do you guys charge someone? How much do you guys charge like an Amazon to film there?
well, my son's figuring out he's learning the ropes.
Okay.
So I think he's charging what he can.
Okay. Okay.
And so generally it's about 3,500 a day
Okay.
for a shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And plus other things. If we have to close the gas station, we have an operating 1970s gas station.
Wow.
And actually, what happened is the gas station is tied onto cafe, Roy's Cafe. And and the cafe, we don't have a permit to open yet, but they allow us to sell snacks and bottled drinks, but nothing we prepare.
Okay.
But because we're waiting for a septic system to get installed.
Mm-hmm.
But if we get the cafe open and the gas station already open, we'll have the only existing Route 66 diner and gas station still open.
Wow.
There's none.
Wow. How far? I'm assuming east of San Bernardino, right?
Right, it's halfway between city of Barstow
Okay.
and Needles off the route Interstate 40.
Okay.
And it's on a little path there where it connects up with 29 Palms, and on 29 Palms is where the Marine base is.
Yeah.
And let's say they told me there's 25,000 people living in 29 Palms, and so it's basically a small city. And if the personnel there, they get a time off or leave, and generally they want to go either Vegas or which is close to Laughlin.
Yeah.
Laughlin's about 60 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to go right through Amboy if they do that.
Wow.
And or if they go to the river, you got to go right through Amboy.
Regardless.
And if you live in Palm Springs, you want to drive to Vegas, you go right through Amboy. You take Highway 62 and get on the Amboy Road, which takes you to Cal Baker Road, which takes you to the state line.
Okay.
But that goes right through Amboy.
Wow.
See, and naturally it has it's a location. In real estate, it's a location.
It's right there.
So even though most of the parts of the Route 66 don't get traveled a lot,
Mm-hmm.
this part will always have travel because of the connection with Laughlin and the Marine Base and Palm Springs. If anyone lives in Palm Springs, there used to be a lot of Hollywood actors.
I love Palm Springs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have second homes out there. And if they drove, they drive right through Amboy.
Yeah. I think of Frank Sinatra when you say celebrities in Palm Springs.
Yeah, Elvis Presley, when he passed away, his wife Priscilla had a house there, Palm Springs.
Wow. So how far would you say Amboy is from San Bernardino?
Amboy is about 160 miles.
Gotcha. Was that like an hour and a half, 2 hours? What would you?
It depends how fast you drive.
Okay. When you're driving, how long does it take when you're driving?
About 3 hours. Other people can make it to between 2 and 2.5.
Okay. Wow. So probably like 4 hours from LA if you're driving from like LA.
Yeah, with LA depends on traffic.
True as well. Gotcha. So, how do you? I'm curious. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are curious. How do you buy a town?
What happened? 2003, my friend Danny Castro came in and says, "You have to buy Amboy." I said, "Well, what's Amboy?" I had no clue. And here I'm a native Californian. My parents native Californians. They never heard of Amboy.
Yeah, I haven't heard of Amboy. Have you?
Nobody has.
Yeah.
And then so he says, I said, well, what's Amboy? He says, well, it's the iconic attraction of the Route 66 in California. The 7 states the Route 66 passes through. So each state has a most go-to attraction.
Okay.
It's Amboy because it's a living ghost town. It's an intact town. The town left behind,
Wow.
and it's a town stuck in the 50s where there's everything you need to have a regular town. There's a cemetery. There's a landing strip. Actually, 2 landing strips.
Wow.
There's a post office that was in operation. There's a Catholic church was built in 1951.
Okay.
There's bungalow cabins that people want to rent. There's a motel lobby. It has style in the Googie style architecture, George Jetson style,
Okay.
and it's a great.
What's a bungalow?
Hmm?
What's a bungalow?
It's like a little cabin,
Okay. Okay.
baby cabin, 1 room,
Cabin. Okay.
which
Okay.
is rental. It's right on the route too. So, and then there's a cafe and gas station. We had the gas station open. The cafe is getting close, and there's public bathrooms, and so basically everything you need to be a town.
Okay.
And I was told that the previous owner, when Amboy had much more to it than what's there now, in the past. But then when Interstate 40 came in, the town dried up. Everyone left, except the last guy left. There was Buster Burris,
Mm.
and he was like a one-man guy, one-man team. So he bulldozed all the extra buildings, supposedly to save on property taxes.
Okay. Interesting.
And so he left the core buildings that are there now, which comprise an actual town.
I love it.
So some attractions are and like in the desert are just like one building. Like there's a Baghdad Cafe attraction. It's on Route 66. It was there's a movie called Baghdad Cafe.
Okay.
It was a cult movie and it was located on the route. And this lady bought it and turned it into an attraction for the route. But it's just like one little restaurant on the property.
Mm-hmm.
So not much there other than that. It's the cafe. And where Amboy is a collection of different things.
Okay.
And so anyway, so he said it was for sale. It's for sale on eBay. And eBay had 3 towns for sale. And one was Amboy. And the reason it was on eBay, because eBay was a startup internet company. And they said, look,
Wow.
you can sell towns on eBay.
Wow.
So
eBay, shout out.
yeah, so they're doing it was a marketing gimmick by eBay to say.
That's a great gimmick. Great.
And then we found out Amboy's for sale, so we got some of the other owners, and we went out there to take a look, and yeah, we got out there, and the owner at the time, Walt Wilson, came out of the motel lobby. He had a shotgun and said, "What are you guys doing here?" Because they weren't very tourist friendly
At the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I explained to him, we saw your ad or saw the eBay posting,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of want to buy the town, and it was for sale for $1.2 million.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, okay, that's a good price for
A town.
a town. And then so we started. So afterwards, we started negotiating, and I didn't exactly have much money, available. So I tried to negotiate them and carry the paper. And then in the meantime, the deal kind of just fell off and fell through.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, one of the reasons it fell through because we got a notice from the IRS saying, okay, you didn't pay your taxes for the past 3 years. File returns.
This is the Amboy for Amboy?
No, for the corporate.
Oh, wow.
Corporate Juan Pollo, because my guy doing our accounting, he didn't find. He got confused what to do in the taxes.
Oh,
so he just
man.
he didn't report.
file.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then he's
wow.
hoping that he didn't know what to do. So he didn't tell me. I said, okay, we'll go hire a real accountant. So anyway,
Wow.
at that point I had to stop negotiations and then settle. But it had to be destiny because I got another lawyer to take care of the taxes. It took a couple years, but then this was 2003 when I saw it. 2005, real estate prices were really going up in Southern California.
Okay.
And then we get this email, Route 60 email says, Amboy is going to be sold today, best cash offer.
Sold today for best
Today,
gas offer. Okay.
this
Wow.
is like Good Friday on 2005.
Okay.
And it says 770,000 or best offer. And I was
Wow.
trying to buy it for $1.2 million.
Yeah, it's almost half.
So I said, I don't know what the hell was going on. There's a name Bonnie Barnes. I didn't know who Bonnie Barnes was. And then so I told my guy, because I find out what's going on. And my guy Jack Marcus, he basically worked at the office.
Mm-hmm.
I had to find out what the deal is. Why is it cheaper? And then and who is this person, Bonnie Barnes? You find out that the original owner, Bessie Burris, repossessed it from the time I tried to deal.
Uh-huh.
And then because she was in the 90s, they wanted to just make a quick sale. Because Bonnie lived in Florida. She wanted to get back to Florida.
Uh-huh. She just wanted her money.
So I got a hold of her. I said, well, I want to buy your town, but I need a little time to get money. She says, no way, I need best cash offer. I said, what's your best offer? She said, what'd she say? She said 375,000.
Wow.
So I said, okay, I'll give you 400,000.
Wow.
And then she kind of hesitated. She said, let me think about it. Because I told her, at first I said, I'll give you 770, but I need some time. She
Need
said,
some
no,
time, yeah.
I need best cash. And then so the next day, in the meantime, I faxed over stuff that I did at McDonald's Museum. I want to honor their name, and I was going to make it a tourist trap.
Mm-hmm.
Because the value of Amboy, when I bought it, was it had the legal gas tanks. So someone could have torn the buildings down and put AM/PM type. Because it's the location I told you about, where everyone coming to Vegas, to Palm Springs, they had to go right through Amboy. It's the only gas station.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and if you modernize the pumps and everything, you could make good money doing a gas station.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I said, no, we're not going to do that. And then so the next day he said, if you could add 25,000 more, we'll make a deal. So I ended up buying the town for 425,000.
Got you. Like a quarter of the original offer,
Yeah.
basically.
And especially this during when the price was skyrocketing. And, because Bonnie was visiting from Florida to handle the thing, and she every day in the newspapers, like prices going up. In the local papers, there's every day, every month, talking about how much prices increased.
Wow.
So it has to be destiny. And then so that Saturday, she calls back. She says, "If you had the $25,000 more, we'll make a deal." I said, "Okay." And then I went out there to the Wonder Valley, where in the middle of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
and made the deal that night.
Cash.
Well, I didn't have the cash; I still had to go through escrow.
Oh, okay.
So still had to wait, but hey, but then we made the deal for 25 from 1.2.
That is impressive. It was meant to be yours.
It had to be destiny.
It was meant to. There it is again. Destiny and action, those two things. What I really loved about the story the most is that you put the action into saying, hey, I'm going to make this place, I'm going to show you that this place can be good by, showing about the gas tanks and stuff like that, the gas station. And so you took a step forward to actually show like, hey, I'm actually going to bring worth to this town. Correct?
No, I didn't know what I was going to. I didn't know why I was going to buy it. All I know is I had to buy a town.
Gotcha.
And actually, the story behind that was the one when I bought my first house in 1977. I told you the agent came in.
Mm-hmm.
He's an older guy. He's about ready to retire, and so he's like a customer. His office was right across the street. So when we were making a deal, whatever, we sort of became acquaintance. And then he says, he told me a story one day. He said, you know what? After the war, because he was in World War II, he says, I could have built my own town.
Wow.
He said I could have bought some acres and made a town, and I never forgot that. And so that town comes for sale. I knew I was destined to buy the town.
Gotcha.
He put that seed in my head.
It was in there. It's already planted.
Yeah, and so I was following my destiny.
I love it. Is owning a town kind of the same of like owning a house, like property tax, plumbing, water, or is there some extra things on top of it that you have to worry about?
Well, actually, the truth is, Amboy is an area in the county.
Okay.
It's not really a town.
Okay.
I mean, everyone identifies it as a town because it has everything you need to be a town, but legally, it's just county property.
Okay.
See, so we follow county rules, even though we have our own post office.
I like it.
You know,
like it.
and the post office was built in 1951, and the church was built in 1951.
Is the church still functional?
If I find a Catholic priest.
Okay. Priests, if you guys any priests looking out for some work, got a place. Wow, that is super impressive, super awesome. And now you said Kyle is in charge of it?
Yes, Kyle took over because we were having a problem getting staffing.
Okay.
And then, but Kyle is, he saw I was really struggling because I had nobody. And then the last couple guys I had were Hispanic, so they were turning Amboy into more of a Mexican type environment where at the end the manager he had health issues, so he couldn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But so I had to leave, and he had to have surgeries, and so the one left in town didn't even speak English.
Oh wow.
And so we got tourists coming in. They're all they're basically the American tourists.
Yes.
And there's no communication.
That's,
I mean, she was a good person.
Yeah, it's just bad business though.
Yeah, and so they couldn't train anybody, and then and so we had a big problem. So Kyle did what he had. He kind of stepped in there and started going online looking for applications.
Mm-hmm.
And he did everything remotely pretty much.
Smart.
And he's got a crew in there, and then he also figured out in time the way to keep them is they most of the stuff is being charged debit or credit.
Okay.
Because we said the gas station's open, and then so they have the tip, like restaurants, they have a tip available.
Mm-hmm.
So Amboy is more of a tipping type of place because you especially have other tourists.
Attraction.
We have regulars, they don't want to tip, but there are a lot of tourists, and they realize it's kind of hard to live out there, and
Definitely.
so they're all making money on tips, so they're making more than they would have. So they're staying.
Ah.
And so now it's just a matter of piecing them together, and getting them to get along. Because Kyle says they can't be overseeing them every second. Because you have
True.
a lot of it, you have one good leader to pull people together, they'll hold. But then he needs someone else to do that, so he can move on to other things.
Yeah, someone delegate it to someone
And
else.
then Kyle, he likes Amboy because he's realizing that he get instant recognition, and you got these stars come in, like they're trying to schedule a movie shoot, part of a movie shoot for the Amazon, another one,
Oh, cool.
and they're supposedly starring Cindy Crawford,
Wow.
and then. So they're gonna helicopter in if they make
Of course,
the deal.
yeah, of course.
And also the shot and shoot movie when they spent the whole day was Aquaman, wasn't it? Jason Momoa.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's when he was nobody, before he was the Dragon King.
Yeah.
And Aquaman, he was
Model.
no, he was making some movie.
Uh-huh.
And he was there, and we were talking because he was nobody, but so he was just talking like nothing, taking pictures. And they became Aquaman.
Yeah. And now all the ladies are screaming.
I know.
That's so awesome. Albert, you shed so much light and gems to us today. Thank you so much, and you're a genuine entrepreneur. And, just like how you were younger reading books about how to be successful in life, what advice would you give to all of us on how to be successful?
Yeah, my advice is once you read all the books and knowledge, get the knowledge to do something, take action if an opportunity comes, and don't look back. If you mess up, you mess up. And I never let money stop me. So if I had no money, I found a way to get open, or take a partner if I had to. But some partners can be tough sometimes.
Definitely.
But the first store in Ontario, what happened was my uncle made me 50-50 with him. Actually, put his son on as my partner, and his son was my age, Robert, and he was sort of a kind of a weirdo.
Okay, I was like, be honest. Go ahead, be honest.
And so he kind of
What made him a weirdo?
well, he was living under his dad's shadow.
Oh, okay.
His
Oh,
dad was a self-made guy.
yeah.
Robert said, "I'm smarter." But and his dad was in the grocery business.
Mm-hmm.
Set Robert up in the grocery store of his own. Robert wanted to prove that he was a better man than his dad, or was equal to his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So he was afraid to make a mistake. See, so Juan Pollo started doing well. Everyone's bragging about Juan Pollo. He didn't like that because I knew I wasn't a businessman. I was an operator, and so I made it work. And everyone praised me like I'm a great business mind, and I knew I wasn't. And he'd get all jealous. So when his dad got excited because he had this market and he's making pennies percentage, and we're just rolling in the money just down the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't believe it, and he wanted us to expand. But his son was my partner, and it wasn't my uncle. See, after the third store came available, the one in Covina, I thought we're gonna. The first two stores were partnership between me and Robert. He went along with it,
Mm-hmm.
and after that, I was trying to work a deal on the Covina store. That's the landlord wanted me there, and Robert said no, he didn't want to do it anymore.
Oh.
And so he maybe back out, and because they put all the money, they put 60,000 in the beginning. He said, okay. My uncle said, okay, if you want to do the Covina, you have to split up, so I had to pay Robert. We had 90,000 in our account in Ontario,
Mm-hmm.
and so if I wanted to go to the Covina, so I had to pay him the initial investment, which was 60,000.
Wow.
So out of that 90, got 60, and then he said there's 30,000 left over. Then you guys are 50-50 partners, so you get 15.
He gets 15.
And so he got 75,000, and I got 15,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I did all the work. So but rather than complain, I said, okay, well that's how it goes.
Yeah, I'll keep moving.
Yeah, and then just keep moving on.
And now look where you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's my advice is just take the losses if you got to take the loss. And I had to make a deal. Well, actually, one of the reasons I made the deal with my uncle is that I could lowball it and got it on my own with borrowed money from my dad. But I want to show my dad that a little guy can't get ahead. He can get ahead, and it takes money to make money. So I was kind of just show him that he could do it.
It can be done.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so, this is back in, I don't want to guess I want to just say 84 when you're left with 15,000.
No, actually, by then it was 1990 because I was making money and there's money in our account.
Gotcha. So it's 1990, right? So that's 32 years ago, right?
Yeah.
How much is Juan Pollo worth now?
Well, I don't really know. It's not worth what it could be. Because I wasn't doing things for the money part, and I don't know how they value businesses. All I know is that it will be worth more money later.
Gotcha. I was just trying to make a point that, in 1990, you only had $15,000 worth of the company, as opposed to now you have 27 different locations.
Well, 25.
25 locations, right? So I was just trying to support, saying
Well,
yes.
I'm not the money man, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I was just trying to help support and say agreeing with you, not to stop, right? To keep on going. Failure must happen in order to succeed. Quote unquote, or not be afraid of failure. In order to continue.
Right. Well, my thing is I was never trying to do things for money, so that's sort of a detriment in my sense of you should have this, you should have this, you should. But the reason was, my dad was, when he was growing up, he was an athlete.
Okay.
And of all the Japanese Americans of his generation, he was considered the top all-around athlete.
Okay.
And like Robert couldn't compare to his dad in business.
Mm.
And I wanted to be the best in something. So I knew I couldn't make the most money. There's too many people have too much money, but I wanted to be the chicken man.
I got it.
And
I like it.
so I took my dad's attitude in sports because we had this great. My dad he refused to lose,
Mm-hmm.
and he was an expert in judo, so he knew leverage and body control,
Gotcha.
and
Use someone else's
he
body
was a short
against
little
them.
guy, but he was captain of his basketball team, high school basketball team, and he was pitcher on his baseball team,
Okay.
and they had the Japanese leagues, and he was a star player in those. But he never learned how to take the attitude into business.
You couldn't switch it
Yeah,
over.
and I had his attitude, his drive. I wanted to win. I wanted to beat people, but I didn't have the body. I was like a skinny little kid, and then I couldn't really hit the ball good. I wanted to be a baseball star because baseball was king in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, all American sport.
Yeah, I wanted to be home run hitter. I couldn't hit the ball very good, and I couldn't throw very far. Couldn't throw it very fast. But I could feel the ball, but that was about it. And then so that's what I was. So I learned that I can compete in business,
I love that.
and I can sell more chicken than anybody because not too many people want to do that. And so the last 20 years, 30 years, actually, there's nobody in America so personally cooked more chicken than I have.
Ooh,
And if there is,
that deserves another fist bump.
if there is, who are they? Because most people that in the chicken business, they're doing fried chicken. So
True.
fried chicken is like
True.
little pieces. So we're doing bulk,
True.
and we specialized in catering. So we're selling chickens by the holes.
Yeah, whole chickens. Yeah.
Even on Pollo Loco, they don't do a lot of catering like we do.
No.
They do individual meals every now and then, a few of them, but they don't do like 100 meals at a time. And and they don't have the capacity. If you look at their system now, they can only cook about 50 chicken at a time, where most of our stores cook maybe 300 of chicken at one time.
Wow.
So we're set up for volume.
Wow. Wow.
See, so that was my goal. My goal wasn't to make money and maybe my son thinks he should have been, but then that's his destiny now, to take what we have and turn it into.
Is it Kyle or Aaron that is saying that?
Kyle is the business guy here.
Gotcha.
Aaron is Mr. Computer Man. He will always make
Uh-huh.
money doing something on the computer,
Okay.
either investing. Like he was investing in college. I don't know what he's invested stocks, and he's making 20,000.
Okay.
And my other son said, "Where'd you get the money?" He said he invested.
You got some smart sons on your.
Yeah, see, so that's that. So they have what it takes to take them, or take the company where it needs to go.
To the next level.
And that, and if they don't want to, there's always Amboy, because Amboy is really unlimited potential. I would value Amboy right now about $10 million to
Okay.
the right buyer,
Wow.
because it has a big upside. Because once Hollywood starts discovering the Amboy more,
It's gonna be a hot spot.
yeah, because Amboy is perfect for, like I said, music videos,
Mm-hmm.
or those chase movies where people chase some people to the desert,
Yep.
or cars breaking down,
Gotcha.
or
Even a
zombies.
western, huh? Even a western could work there, right?
Yeah, or the 50s, because it has that 50s look,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Wow. Albert, what would you? I know you're almost 70 now, right? You said.
70, I'll be 71 in a couple of months.
Well, hey, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
And by the grace, it's probably been beautiful seeing life in this whole 70 years. What would you say is your largest accomplishment?
Well, it's not done yet, because when I die, if the kids come through it and they don't fight during a fight for money, and they are all successful and doing good, then I will be successful.
Okay.
So that's what my goal is. That regardless of the money, so I'm trying to make sure that I was always worried about having too much money, because then someone fights over it.
Yeah.
So if they end up satisfied and happy and content, and that means and have good families of their own, that means I was successful. If not, that means I failed.
Okay.
You know, because individual success is, well, it's really the overall family thing.
Got you. That would be your largest accomplishment is the family, having a good, strong
But
family.
yeah, it's not written yet. It's final.
I got you. I got you. And it seems like you have a good head on your shoulder, and I'm certain that you and your wife have raised good sons. Obviously they seem to be doing pretty good right now, financially and mentally, being in computers, being in finance. They're not out here in the streets doing some wild stuff.
Because I think I have 3 kids. I think each of them could be successful without me. And if I could show that that's the way, then that means I'm successful.
I really love your mentality about it's not about the money. Like it seems like for you, it's morals and ethics over everything.
Well, yeah, because you know what? I live a low lifestyle, so I don't need a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so I am making more money than I ever thought I would, but less than people think I should.
Okay. Wow, that's a line right there. Woo. But you're content. You're happy.
Yeah, because what am I going to do? Because even some of the other owners, they make a lot more money. Because some of the other owners of the Juan Pollo, they were investing in real estate,
Okay.
and they got a lot of property during those big crashes. But they have to be judged also when they pass away. What is their family going to end? How are they going to coexist together? Be happy? Be satisfied? That's I think the true test. What happens when you're gone?
Yeah.
What was your legacy?
Yeah, it's very true. And a lot of family members come out of the woodworks when someone dies because they're always trying to.
Yeah, and the more money you have, the more the problems there'll be.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to avoid that. I made a point when my father passed away. He didn't have that much, but his estate was about $2 million. And so I made because I have 2 sisters,
Mm-hmm.
and my goal was to make sure there's no fighting.
Smart.
So
Over the money,
everything
right?
went, yeah. Because it's too easy to say, you're taking this, you're taking that. And money destroys people.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And
The love of money, right?
yeah, or if it's sitting right in front of you, people get greedy.
Yes, sir.
And also the other problem is the spouses' families. So that's I tell my kids, I'm not so much worried about you. You have to make sure you marry the right spouse.
Gotcha. What's your advice that you give to your kids on picking the right spouse?
Right now I can't give advice. I would keep it to myself.
What advice would you give
Well,
anybody?
what I tell the boys is I said, don't get married young. Wait till you're settled in
Gotcha.
and marry someone younger. Because that way you don't have to trade someone for a trophy wife.
I like it. I like it.
That's sort of why I did. My wife's 12 years younger, so I don't have to trade them in.
Good to go. Okay, there you go. He knows what's up. He knows what's up. Albert, what are there any current projects that you guys are working on? That you are working on?
Yes, we're working on trying to improve the machines, the cookers, the rotisserie cookers. We're trying to figure out how we can make them fit for the future needs and make the consistency pretty much the same. We're trying to figure out how to streamline our marination process to make it taste the same.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get that cooker cook a little bit faster. And but so far we've struck out because I'm waiting for destiny to come and have the right person plop into.
There it is.
Because I'm convinced someone will come in and that knows what to do. Because it has to be someone who thinks out of the box.
Always.
They can figure something out and say, I know what's needed. Because I can't, I have the Japanese traits where they could take something that's already done and refine it, but they can't invent something new.
Can you say that again about the Japanese trait?
Well, the Japanese are famous, or they were famous for taking whatever is available and improving it, making it smaller, improving it, especially when they came to electronics in the early days.
Okay.
They learned to make radios much smaller, everything smaller and better, more efficient. But they couldn't invent anything. They would take something, even during World War II, they had no navy, and all of a sudden they have all these massive ships.
Uh-huh.
Because they just copied American technology. and but they don't invent anything on their own.
Gotcha.
And that's sort of a trait I have is maybe it's cultural. But I can see something and know whether it make minor improvements, but I can't invent something.
I gotcha.
So that's what we're lacking right now as far as the out of the box type cooker.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what's slowing us down from going quicker is their process.
Gotcha. Streamlining.
So I'm waiting for Destiny to kick in one more time.
Gotcha. Destiny's gonna come in. I would say this is Destiny right here, wouldn't you?
Maybe, you never know.
Hey, if it was, I don't think we would be here if it wasn't Destiny. You know, that's just me. Thank you so much, Albert, for being on the podcast. Let's say 100 years has passed by, 200 years has passed by. What would you like, whether it's business, family, culture, whatever it is, what would you like your empire to have looked like?
Well, I haven't really thought about that after I'm gone because I leave the options open to the kids. If they want to go on and do something else, that's fine. And, if they want to sell, that's fine.
But what about Albert? What about you? What would you like your empire to look like? You.
If I'm gone,
When you're gone, 100 years in the past, what would you like people to say? This is what Albert did. This is how we remembered Albert. Okura.
well, I haven't really thought about that. I'm just trying to live the short-term goals of when I pass away, that everything's fine.
Okay. Never been asked that question before?
No.
Gotcha. We got him, folks. We got him.
So I'm not thinking 100 years after I'm dead. If I was alive, it'd be different.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like to ask people that question because I believe everyone's living on creating a legacy.
Right.
And everybody wants to be known for something. Like you said earlier, you want to be known as the chicken guy.
Right.
Remember?
Well, if the company keeps going, I will be known for that. And because Amboy is something they personally created.
Mm-hmm.
Amboy will be famous forever and ever, but not something I didn't create. I'm sort of the caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing McDonald's. McDonald's is a stepping stone for more publicity.
True.
But it's still not something I created.
Yeah. You just made me think right now, like, have you ever had like a Juan Pollo truck outside of the McDonald's museum? Like, bring the two together? Like, hey, we're going to have some Juan Pollo food outside the museum.
No, I'm careful. Well, we had food there, but I'm careful not to piss off McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Because McDonald's, they're watching everything I'm doing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right.
And I've stayed low key on it, and so I sort of, you might say I was smarter than them because everything I'm doing pretty much legally.
Mm-hmm.
I could use any images prior to the 1961,
Okay.
and without being afraid of lawsuit.
Copyright infringement or something.
And they have to be a little bit careful. So, and also I'm very pro McDonald's.
Yeah.
A lot of times people want me to hate McDonald's for cheating the brothers, but I think the brothers made a huge mistake by not playing ball with Ray Kroc. They missed the boat. That's part of
Got you.
It was right there. Their destiny should have been signed on with the brothers. They wouldn't have to do nothing. They would have been famous because you can't deny who they were.
Yeah, because they chose not to franchise with them. Is that what they?
Well, okay. Here's what happened. Ray Kroc found the brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Brothers set in their system. They were so efficient. They didn't want any changes. Everything was fine tuned, and they're so proud of it. And Ray Kroc saw the potential to be all over America, so he got the rights to franchise. And then when he came up with this idea of using instant milk for the shakes instead of fresh.
Yeah.
Because it would save a lot of storage and shipping and spoilage and cost. And the brothers had a panic attack. You can't do that. You can't change their recipe. You can't. So you want to change things, you have to buy it. And then they forced Ray Kroc to buy the company. And Ray he's like me. He had nothing. He had to borrow money from all his people he met and knew, banking on that he would be successful. And towards after they entered escrow, they thought the store in San Bernardino was going to be Ray Kroc, that the store in San Bernardino was making all the money that could pay most of the loan. The brother said, "No, you don't get this store. So you're only buying our name. This store stays." And that's why the property didn't become a McDonald's after he bought the
Okay.
company. And then so Ray Kroc was pissed. He made him take off the arches, cut the arches down, and he
Wow.
vowed to never talk about the brothers the rest of his life.
Wow.
See, so
Bad business.
well, the brothers they made a mistake. And that's why the same thing with KFC. Colonel Sanders, he lost his legacy for he wasn't represented because he badmouthed the company for changing his recipe.
Gotcha.
And that's why as we go, if the Kyle and Aaron have to change a little bit of the recipe here or there,
I was gonna ask you that.
I'm not going to fight it because if it allows the company to be there another 50 years, then I'll be the chicken man. You know, if I fight them, then they'll say, "Hey, we can't use this guy."
Mm-hmm.
See, so everything is I'm learning from the past.
Definitely.
And I see the mistakes. You know, the brothers did by pissing off Ray Kroc.
Gotcha. Do you think when it comes to like the Colonel and the McDonald's brothers, that they let their emotions get too involved with the business, and that's what made it bad for them?
Well, you know, like with the brothers, yes, they you know the McDonald brothers, they didn't analyze. All they do is just say, "Okay, we'll take your low percentage," because they were mainly afraid. You know what else is bad, which is bad destiny for me is when I was in escrow, the Dick McDonald's still alive, and they said he loved to talk about the good old days and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And before I got to escrow, he died.
Wow.
And had he been living one more year, I could float him out here, and he could tell me everything, all the secrets, and help us with the museum. And we lost him once he passed away. Everything's gone.
Wow.
And yeah, that was kind of bad.
That is
Now what
interesting.
else? No, I was just talking about the what was else I was saying?
We were talking about that the McDonald's brothers were emotionally
Oh yeah,
using their emotions.
they got mad because Ray wanted to change. They should have just recognized that he's the agent of change, and he could take him in the big time. That you know, Ray Kroc had the ability to take them in the big time
Yeah.
because he had the drive and he had the ambition, and he could have done that. The brothers didn't recognize that in him. So with me and my son Kyle, he wants to do a lot of things different than I would be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize that he has something in him that could take us big that I can't.
Gotcha.
You know, as far as the Juan Pollo part, I've taken the company as far as I personally can. And we can always maybe maintain a small regional family type restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more to life than that.
A lot more. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think we could be really popular overseas. And as long as the world situation squares up,
It will.
it's a little more stable.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. And even the colonel, he raged against the company, but then all they did was stop using him. And I don't think he has extended family so he was just not talked about for years. And then they eventually brought him back because I think everybody involved in those days forgot what went on.
Yeah, they have actors playing him now. It's kind of sad. So is Juan Pollo in different states besides California?
No, only California.
Okay, so it might be Arizona and Nevada pretty soon then.
Well, I would hope so, but the problem is getting product out there, the branded goods. So we need to be further along with our situation here with the
Gotcha.
cash flow.
And it will come. It
Yeah.
will come. It will come. Albert, I think we want to thank you so much for being on the podcast. For anyone who would like to contact you or contact the family, contact the business, want to know more, can you please tell them how they may contact you or your sons or your business or anything like that?
Well, I think our contact info is on the website.
Okay, and what's the website name?
It's going to be juanpollo.com.
Moamboil.com. Is there anything else to tell the audience at all?
Well, yes, if you interested in my book, what I'm doing, I'm pretty much will give you a free book if you email me or get a hold of me. If you want to really get a hold of me, I usually am at the Juan Pollo in San Bernardino, 5th and Mount Vernon. Usually I'm there mostly the nighttime. And I'm more than happy to give you a signed book if you really want one, because really it's marketing for the company.
Mm-hmm. And what about the email? What's the email that they can email you for it?
Well, my email is Albert Okura, Okura, 84 at gmail.com.
Gotcha. And so they can just say, hey, Albert, I want a copy of the book. Can you mail it to this address?
Yes, just give me a name you want me to sign it to and a mailing address.
Boom. There it is, folks. And there's a lot of information in it, stuff about the family, stuff about starting it, and so much more.
Yeah, so a lot of people that like the book are people who are on the way up. And actually people that are really successful, they identify with what I learned. And so they like the book because I'm doing the things that they already learned. And so it's sort of like a self-help book for entrepreneurs, because it took me a while to learn that that's what I really am, an entrepreneur. I'm not really a businessman. And the other thing I learned about business is it takes three areas to be successful, I think, on your own business.
Let's hear it.
You need to have a idea man. That's Amanda Para. And then you need a money man, which was my uncle. He understood money, and then you need an operator, and that was me, the one that's willing to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Without those three things, the day-to-day operator and the idea man and money man, because usually there are very few people can do all three.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I could have been much bigger had I had the money man with me.
Mm-hmm.
And once my cousin Robert split up with me, then his dad stopped helping me.
Oh, really? Wow.
Because he was doing help for his son.
That makes sense.
And so I really lost the money man aspect. So I just kept going along, and then I just kept waiting for somebody like my son to come along.
Mm-hmm.
So he's here.
He's here now. Destiny.
So that's the three items I forgot to say about doing being successful.
Gotcha. Money man, idea man, and an operator.
Yes.
Gotcha. I like it. And it's very, very hard to find for one person to be all three.
It's almost impossible.
Gotcha. But it's feasible to be two, for a person to be two of them, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Me, I'm only one.
Hey, I think that's another thing is knowing your place, is knowing what you're capable of. I think that's a really good one too.
And being able to recognize other people can help you. Which Dick McDonald, Dick McDonald, he didn't recognize Ray as a guy who could take him in the big time. He made a tragic mistake.
Yeah, but we learn from other people's mistakes.
Well, I did.
Yeah, a lot of us. And again, Albert, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Okay, Antonio.
It was great talking to you and learned so much. Ladies and gentlemen, wasn't it an awesome podcast? So much information. Wow. You guys know how to get the book. You know, we heard so much about the Chicken Man himself. I want to thank you guys all for listening, watching the podcast. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what you think, what you thought, your thoughts on everything. If you want to support the podcast, you can do CashApp, $TheeEmpirePodcast. It'll also be in the description. All the stuff that he was talking about, Mr. Okura, would be in the descriptions. Other than that, I want to thank you guys again, because without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you so much. And this is the Empire Podcast. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace. I say it's my duty. Yeah. Is it my will? Yeah. To do what? Yeah. To do is right. I say. And that's all.
Okay. That's good.
That's it.